All right, let's dive into something a little heavy, but honestly, something we all need to be thinking about more and more these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Natural disasters, they seem to be popping up everywhere and getting stronger too. So we're going to deep dive into this new report. It's called the Global Natural Disasters Analysis and Future Impact.
Catchy.
Yeah, well, the content's anything but lighthearted, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
2024 has been a bit of a whirlwind so far, and this report really digs into, well, how climate change is fueling all of this chaos.
Yeah. One of the things that really jumped out at me was this connection the report makes.
Okay, lay it on me.
It links volcanic activity, especially all that stuff happening around the Pacific Ring of Fire, to climate change.
Wait, whoa, slow down a sec.
Yeah.
You're telling me climate change is making volcanoes erupt more often?
It's a bit more nuanced than that. Think of it as like this, like a complex web of interactions, right? The report suggests that as temperatures rise and glaciers melt, all that ice melting away, it's actually messing with the pressure on the Earth's crust. Yeah, and that can open up pathways for magma to rise, which leads to, you guessed it, more eruptions.
Okay, now that's a connection I never would have made, so let me see if I've got this straight. Rising temperatures melt ice, which changes the pressure on the Earth's crust, which then makes volcanoes more likely to erupt.
Exactly. It's like this crazy domino effect. And to make matters worse, these eruptions spew out even more greenhouse gases.
Oh man, talk about a vicious cycle. It's like climate change is giving itself a boost.
It's a feedback loop, and it really highlights how interconnected everything is on this planet. And it doesn't stop at volcanoes. The report goes on to explain how this whole cascade is impacting, well, basically everything. Those insane heat waves, the crazy rainfall, it's all connected.
Yeah, those heat waves have been brutal. Europe and North America got slammed this year. I read somewhere it hit 50 degrees Celsius. Like, can you even imagine?
Hard to wrap your head around, isn't it?
It's like, how do you even function in that kind of heat?
Right. And then you have the knock-on effects. Wildfires raging out of control, droughts drying up everything. This report really digs deep into how this impacts, us, like
Right.
basic necessities.
Right, like food and water.
Exactly. Think about it. Crops are failing left and right because of the heat. That means food shortages, prices skyrocketing at the supermarket. Water resources are strained, leading to droughts, which then lead to conflicts over who gets access to water. It disrupts daily life in a really big way.
It's scary to think about, honestly. So we've got volcanoes going haywire, heat waves making parts of the planet basically uninhabitable.
Hmm.
What else does this report highlight that we should be worried about?
Well, this might surprise you, but it also talks about increased flooding.
Flooding. But isn't that, kind of normal?
Sure, but the report points to a surge in severe flooding in some pretty unexpected places. We're talking Southeast Asia, parts of Africa and South America, places that don't usually see this level of flooding.
That is surprising. What's
Accent.
causing that shift?
It all comes back to those unpredictable rainfall patterns, right? Climate change is shifting those atmospheric currents, the ones that determine where rain falls. And that means some areas are getting slammed with intense rainfall that they just aren't equipped to handle.
So it's not just like an extra rainy day here and there. We're talking catastrophic floods.
Right. And it displaces communities, wipes out crops, and just wreaks havoc on entire economies. It's a stark reminder that climate change isn't just about things getting a little warmer. It's messing with the entire systems that, keep life on Earth going. And that brings us to, that big, scary elephant in the room, rising sea levels. I mean, this is what really gets to me, the sheer scale of the problem. The report paints this terrifying image of island nations just vanishing beneath the waves and coastal communities, all around the world just crumbling under the pressure.
It is a lot to take in. It can feel pretty hopeless, to be honest. But this report isn't all doom and gloom, right? They also talk about what we can do about it, right?
Oh, absolutely. They really hammer home the urgency of cutting back on carbon emissions, drastically. We need to get serious about cleaner energy, investing in ways to use energy more efficiently, and just rethinking our whole relationship with consumption.
Yeah, like just buy less stuff.
Yeah, but it's not just about preventing future damage. We also need to adapt to changes that are already happening.
So that's where things like, was it resilient infrastructure come in? I've heard that term thrown around, but I'm not really sure what it looks like in practice.
Imagine cities designed to beat the heat. Think green spaces, cooling systems built right into the infrastructure, picture buildings elevated above potential flood zones, or coastal defenses, seawalls and stuff, reinforced to withstand those rising tides. Think drought-resistant crops and communities with early warning systems so they can prepare for disasters.
It sounds like a huge, complicated, and expensive undertaking. Is this something we can even achieve? I mean, it feels like it needs to be a global effort, right?
It does, but that doesn't mean that individual actions don't matter. Every choice we make, what we buy, how we get around, it all adds up. You can support sustainable businesses, push for policy changes, even just talk to your friends and family about it. It all contributes to the bigger solution.
So we covered a lot today. Volcanoes, heat waves, floods, rising sea levels. It's a lot. And honestly, it's clear that all these natural disasters, they're a wake-up call. Our planet's changing, and we need to change with it. So as we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with a question to think about. Given everything we've talked about today, what's one small change you can make in your life to be part of the solution? It doesn't have to be huge, just something to get you started. Think about it, and let's keep this conversation going.